In this village, winter is not a season. It is a sentence. There is no spring to wait for, no summer to remember. The cold arrived generations ago and never left. It presses into the land like a curse, shaping the mountains, the people, even their thoughts. The village has no official name on any map. Satellites pass over it without noticing. Roads that once existed have been erased by snow so thick it feels permanent, as if the earth itself decided to forget this place. Here, temperatures fall low enough to make trees explode without warning. Breath crystallizes in the air. Sound dies quickly, and silence becomes heavy, watching. Elena had learned this silence as a child. She learned it the day her father froze only 20 meters from their door. Since then she had obeyed the rules of White Hollow without question. Never travel alone, never stay outside after dark, and never listen to the wind when it starts to sound like a voice. Every morning before dawn, Elena rose from her narrow bed and layered herself in wool and fur, worn thin by years of survival. The walls of her wooden house were etched with ice, crawling slowly like living veins. Even inside, the cold never truly released its grip. But this winter was wrong. The storms lasted longer. The sky stayed dark even at midday. Animals that once survived alongside the villagers, foxes, deer, even wolves, had vanished completely. No tracks, no bodies, just absence. And then the radio turned on. The device hadn't worked in over a decade. Its antenna was bent. Its speaker cracked. Yet that morning, as Elena poured boiling water into a chipped metal cup, static hissed through the room. At first, she thought it was the wind. Then the sound sharpened into words. Low, broken, human. If you can hear this, do not go outside tonight. Elena's hand froze in midair. The radio fell silent. Outside, the wind stopped. For the first time in her life, White Hollow was completely still. And in that unnatural quiet, Elena felt something she hadn't felt since childhood. Not fear of the cold, but the certainty that the cold was no longer alone. By midday, fear had settled over the village like frost. No one needed to say it out loud, everyone felt it. The kind of fear that doesn't scream, but waits. Doors stayed shut. Curtains never moved. Smoke rose from chimneys in thin, uncertain lines, as if even fire was afraid to burn too brightly. Elena stepped outside only once. The cold hit her like a physical force, stealing breath, biting through layers of fur and wool. The sky hung low and gray, pressing down on the village. No wind, no birds, no sound of animals. Then she saw the tracks. They cut through the snow between the houses, deep and deliberate. Not paw prints. Not human either. Too wide, too heavy. And they didn't lead anywhere, only circled the village, again and again, like something learning the shape of a cage. By afternoon, the hunters gathered in the frozen square. Men who'd faced blizzards and starvation now refused to meet each other's eyes. Rifles stayed unloaded. No one volunteered to follow the tracks. "We wait," someone said. Waiting had always worked before. That night, the storm arrived without warning. Snow fell sideways, sharp as glass. Visibility vanished in minutes. The world shrank to walls of white. One by one, the lights died. The village sank into darkness, broken only by the faint glow of fire behind windows. Inside her house, Elena listened as the wind returned, louder now, angry. Ice crept along the walls, sealing cracks, tightening its grip. The cold sank deeper than ever before. Then came the sound. A knock, slow, heavy, not from the door, but from the side of the house. Elena held her breath. The knock came again, closer. Her radio crackled violently, static screaming through the silence. And through the noise a voice whispered, "The cold is not what you should fear." The knocking stopped. But something remained outside, waiting. Elena did not open the door. She stood frozen as the silence stretched, thick and unnatural. The storm outside had faded, yet the cold inside her house felt sharper than ever, as if the walls themselves were listening. Then she heard it, breathing, weak, uneven, human. Against every rule she had ever learned, Elena pulled the door open. A wave of cold slammed into her, but beneath it, half buried in snow, lay a child. A boy no older than 10. His lips were blue, his eyelashes white with frost. His chest barely moved. He should have been dead. She dragged him inside, bolted the door, and fed the fire until the flames screamed. Slowly, painfully, warmth returned to the boy's skin. When his eyes finally opened, they were clear and terrified. "You can't stay here," he whispered. Elena stared at him. "No one comes here," she said. "Not anymore." The boy shook his head. "My group found this place by accident," he said. "The cold hit it. That was the point." He told her they had followed old signals, distorted radio waves, dead zones on maps. Warnings left behind by people who understood too late what White Hollow really was. "This village isn't surviving the cold," the boy said. "It's maintaining it." Elena felt her stomach twist. He explained that beneath the frozen ground was something ancient, something that did not sleep. It waited. The cold wasn't killing it. The cold was holding it still. The storms, the silence, the missing animals, all signs of weakening. "They're waking up," the boy whispered. "Not because it's colder, but because it's starting to warm." The radio burst to life again, louder than ever. This time the message was clear. If the ice breaks, nothing leaves. Outside the ground trembled, softly but undeniably. And deep beneath White Hollow something answered. By morning the storm was gone. No wind, no snowfall. Just a silence so complete it felt unreal. Elena stepped outside with the boy close behind her. White Hollow no longer existed as she remembered it. Houses had collapsed under the night's pressure, roofs crushed, walls swallowed by snow and ice. The frozen square was empty. No voices, no smoke from chimneys, no footprints except their own. The village had not been destroyed. It had been abandoned. The cold, once relentless, felt different, lighter, unstable. Drops of water slid slowly from wooden beams, striking the ice below with soft, terrifying taps. The boy looked at the horizon. "It's starting," he said. A deep crack echoed beneath their feet. The ground split open in the distance, veins of black ice tearing through the white. From far below came a sound that did not belong to the earth, low, massive, patient. Elena finally understood. White Hollow was never meant to be saved. It was meant to last. Generations had lived and died here not by accident, but by design. Every frozen winter, every lost life, every rule obeyed without question, part of a single purpose: to keep the cold unbroken. She knelt in the snow and wrapped her arms around the boy, pulling him close as the ground trembled again. "If we leave," he asked, voice shaking, "what happens?" Helena closed her eyes. Then the world remembers why this place was erased. Far away the ice shattered. The sound rolled across the land like thunder, deep and endless. Elena turned back toward what remained of the village, her breath fogging in the warming air. Somewhere deep beneath the melting ground, something was moving. And for the first time in centuries, winter was losing. She whispered the truth, not to the boy, but to the world beyond the snow. Some places are not meant to thaw. Some sacrifices are not meant to end. The cold receded, and whatever had been waiting finally began to rise.